it's always helpful to see other people's experiences and the questions they ask and tuning into the calls because even if I'm not applying those things, it keeps me in the mindset and there's always something I learn from it. I have things on my Excel that I didn't even know that I could learn.
Hey, 10XBB family. I have a very special guest with us today, Barbara Samtaidi, and she just took her first Airbnb listing live. So let's take a look at what you have. And so you just took this live, so I can see it says new, and it is a 3-bed, 2.5 bath in Cooperas Cove, Texas. Very nice. So let's just take a look at your. So walk us through your property, Barbara. Tell us what this is, how you came
So,
across this property.
so this is you're looking at the living room first, and the kitchen. That's a guest bedroom.
Mhm.
That's a little bigger than the smaller guest bedroom, right?
Yep.
Coming up next. So it's a two-story, 3.5
Mhm.
1,234 square feet. It's got a garage, it's fenced in. Behind it's a beautiful ranch. No one can build back there because it's a reservoir. So it's pretty peaceful and it's near Fort Hood, but it's not in Killeen,
Mhm.
where there's a little more hustle and bustle, more crime and everything. So you can
Beautiful.
see
Look at
it's, yeah, it's nice back there.
that. Amazing.
So that's why I bought it. It was wood beams, and the realtor told me that no one can build back there. And I was like, where do I sign?
Can you build any other structures back here or?
Nope, that's a reservoir. So there can be
Cool.
no buildings back there.
Well, you have a beautiful property. And for context, so you own this property, is that correct?
Yes.
This looks like a duplex. So
Yes.
the right-hand side is the Airbnb or is it the
The
left?
left. It's the left.
Okay, so left-hand side is the short-term rental. Right-hand side is
Long term.
long-term rental. Okay, so question number one, how
Mhm.
much money are you getting per month? And by the way, I love your property as a case study because it really demonstrates the power of the
Mhm.
Airbnb or short-term rental business. So the right-hand side, how much are you collecting in terms of long-term rent?
995 right now.
So 995 per month here.
Mhm.
Left-hand side, short-term rental. After you were live for 3 days, you got your first booking, which was
Yes. 1,069
1,000.
after fees.
So what's amazing about that is you've already exceeded the long-term rental rate of 995
Mhm.
3 days after being live on Airbnb. And that's just
Yeah.
for a 1 week booking. So once you get the rest of the calendar booked, if you forecast that out, that should get you at least 3.5, 4,000 a month, if not more.
Yeah.
What's amazing for anyone wondering is that Barbara has no reviews, right?
None.
This is a brand new account. Look, no reviews,
Mhm.
no reviews, and you can see right off the calendar that the calendar is booked. She got a weekly booking, and she's got a high price point too. And this is a duplex, so
Mhm. And that looks like it's gone up because of the weekend, but
yeah. And what I imagine you're going to do, correct me if I'm wrong, is you're probably going to convert this entire property into a short-term rental. That would be my best guess, right?
eventually, yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I mean, once you do that, you're basically looking at, have you projected out what you think you can make per month if you take the entire property into a short-term rental?
The entire thing, if I'm staying booked, about 2,700 after utilities and everything. Because
Okay.
got all the utilities and
Yeah,
cable, things like that. So, 2,700 a piece, possibly.
a piece. Okay. Nice.
And
Which
that's including what I want to put away as well. Sorry.
Yeah, so you'd go, okay, so let's say 2,700 a piece net, which works out to 5,400 a month net versus 2 grand a month if you did long-term rental.
Yes.
Okay, so almost 2.5 times, basically 2.5 times.
Yes.
So I mean, again, it really demonstrates the power of the business. Long-term rental, you're not making a lot of money. Short-term rental, you're really making 2 to 3 times your long-term rental rate. So I think it's a fantastic case study. So, Barbara, tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you're doing really well in the Airbnb business now, even though you're very new to it. So, tell us what were you doing before the Airbnb business, and what made you interested in Airbnb?
So right before I was going through quite a bit, I left respiratory. I was doing respiratory full time. I did just go back, which is why I kind of had to rush to get this done. And I'm still gonna make some upgrades. But my mother had gotten sick. I didn't tell you this before, but she got sick. She got ovarian cancer. I was already burnt out. I had been supervisor, throughout COVID and everything. And so I was looking for ways to not have to be so overwhelmed because I wanted to focus on my family as much as I wanted to. And I was becoming more passionate about that. So I stopped. I was focused on that. I was working part-time and then stopped completely. So I knew I had to go back to work, but I wanted to get this off the ground. And my tenant's lease was coming up. So once I put in that, I had already, gotten into 10 Airbnb. Then my tenant's lease was coming up, and I knew I saw all the material there. I had yet to go through it though. But I could tell that I could learn and do it. So I put in the 60-day notice, and then I got learning, and I had been setting things up for, about 60 days. And you'd be surprised to know I got everything except the sofa off of Amazon.
Amazing.
Everything. Got it shipped to me. Then I it looked like I was moving there, but everything was in boxes. Set it all up, um, and did everything myself. And I had help, here and there. People would come in and help, but
Oh.
it's been a lot, but it was worth it.
And so obviously you own this property, so that's why you made that investment of
Yes.
furniture and whatnot. How much did you spend on furniture?
It's no more than 1,400 or 14,000
Okay,
on everything.
great. And so if you do go about making 4,000 a month on this property, because again, in 1 week you got 1,100, so in a month you should really be making at least $4,000. So
Yes,
really, your break even in terms of paying off the furniture is just 3 months.
I could. Yep.
Like 3 to 4 months, you should be breaking even on the furniture, which is fantastic. And so okay, so you didn't spend too much money. That's good. And then when you heard about the 10xpb program, did you have any hesitations about getting into the program, making that financial commitment, etc.? What were your hesitations, and what made you overcome those hesitations?
Besides always money being an issue,
Mhm.
there was no hesitation
Okay,
because I could already tell that I could duplicate it.
amazing.
So I had the money and I knew I wasn't going to be working as well. That was the difficulty. But because I knew I could duplicate it and because I knew at some point I could, pay that off and everything would pay off, I was
Yeah.
just like, I have to. I gotta do it.
And when it comes to the 10xpb program itself, whether it's the Facebook community, whether it's the video modules, whether it's the one-on-one calls, what have you really gotten out of the 10xpb program so far?
Um, it's always helpful to see other people's experiences and the questions they ask and tuning into the calls because even if I'm not applying those things, it keeps me in the mindset and there's always something I learn from it. I wanted to do this before I did the management, but I'm really looking forward to doing that now because I had been tuning in here and there. And so I just kept doing that. But most of all, I went through the course. I went through videos over and over again until I could understand. I went through Price Lab, and there's more things to do in depth, but overall, like I have Excels and it would have been cool to show you, but I have I have things on my Excel that I didn't even know that I could learn. And I'm really proud of that. And so I figured out the pricing, and how that's supposed to go up or down month to month and season to season. And I just followed everything that I could to get my Airbnb started. And so now I'll go back through and really hone in on the management side because I actually, after talking to you, one of my Facebook friends who I worked at a hospital with them, a travel nurse, he's looking to open an Airbnb. And then in about 6 weeks, he said I have a good design eye, even though this is my first time designing, and it's not complete to me, but he would like me to do that for him. And I asked him if he needs help with management as well. He said he does. So now I'm going to hone in and be ready for that.
Amazing. So you really started off with the ownership approach. You own your own property. Let's take it on Airbnb. Let's get some money. Now transitioning into the management angle. So that's
Yeah.
great to see. And what is the next step for you? So for let's say 2023, do you have a target in mind as far as how many properties you want to own or how many properties you want to manage? Do you want to get into rental arbitrage? What's the next step for you?
So next, I definitely want to manage 2 or 3 properties at the very least.
Mhm.
Um, I am currently studying for my real estate license, so my whole life is shifting toward real estate.
Nice.
Um, in different niches. And
Yeah.
so um I'm I'm most of the way through studying my studies. I'm gonna hone in on the managing, have my Airbnb. And so in the next few months, I expect to get capital in a couple of different ways to obtain more property. I've always wanted to own multifamily property. And
Amazing.
so I'll look in places that are the least expensive and maybe military towns because that has the attraction without the expense. But I'll
Mhm.
also look into unique and expensive places. But I want to just continue to acquire property and do long and short-term rentals.
Amazing. So this sounds like a complete career shift. Then you
Yeah.
started off as a respiratory therapist. Now you're seeing more money in real estate, Airbnb, and you're just doubling down on that.
Yes.
Amazing. And last question for you is, what advice would you give to anyone that's interested in joining the 10x Premium program?
Interested in joining to know where you're going to start and just hone in on it and watch the videos over and over. Anything I do doesn't come easy. I have to study over and over. And it becomes, your way of thinking, ask questions, and just always ask yourself, how do I get it done? And then get it done and keep taking those steps. You'll get there eventually.
Fantastic. Well, Barbara, thank you so much for joining us on this video, and we look forward to seeing what you do next. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.